very warm welcome to our perspective-altering show, where we offer you ways to access more robust well-being and to nurture in yourself your highest levels of energy, vitality, and freedom from sickness and disease. I'm Liz Gunn. Today, Dr. Bruce Lipton discusses crucial information about how stress affects our bodies and also the need to regenerate the body's cells that are lost each day. Our other regular Bruce, the actor Bruce Hopkins, was shown last week how to help the healing of his post-operative heart stress by Vivienne Berry, who explains to him the heart coherence test, a very powerful balancing of head, heart, and breath. We discuss foods that place no stress on the body with passionate nutritionist Shon Bennett, who's a keen advocate of regular fasting to help the body's healing. And finally, we look at a busy family making healthy and affordable eating fit in with their lifestyle. But first today, I talk stress on the brain with Dr. Bruce Lipton, to whom I spoke earlier. Bruce Lipton, it's wonderful to have you here. Today, we want to talk about brain chemistry, brain function, and probably the diseases of that, which is coming under one headline now, and that's stress, isn't it, in modern society?
Most important is stress, because we've looked at all diseases as genetic caused diseases and all that. Let's first clear that up. Only 1% of disease is connected to genes. All of a sudden,
1%?
1%. So why is that relevant? I said, well, what about the other 90% of illness?
Wait a minute, I can hear all the scientists screaming, how do you prove that? How do you know that?
Because the data is already in the literature. Genes, you see, we go to the new science of epigenetics. It says a gene action is not controlled by the gene, but controlled by the environment, okay? But there are a couple of genes whose action alone can create a disease. But they're just a handful of diseases, hemophilia, for example, Huntington's disease, just a few. Having the gene means you're going to have the disease. But when we talk about breast cancer, for example, I say, oh, well, 50% of the women with the gene don't get the disease, so the gene does not cause the disease. The gene is correlated with the disease, but itself doesn't cause it. So I'm saying, okay, if 1% is caused by genetics, which is demonstrated, the other is due to environment plus genes. Okay, but environment becomes priority. I go, well, how does it work? And I go, here is what science has recognized to be responsible for up to 90% of doctor visits. It's called stress. I said, what's stress? Stress is anything that gets in the way of your plan of life. Whatever you want to do, and I want to go do this, and something gets in the way, by definition, causes stress. It interferes with your life. I said, well, how does it affect you? Well, stress is associated with fear. I'm not going to complete or get what I'm looking for because of whatever this got in the way. This is threatening me, and so I'm going to make a response to a threat. That's what stress is about. I said, well, the stresses come from the outside. My job, the environment, how much money I have, whether what's going on in the world around me. And I say, oh, the body has a system to deal with stress from the outside. It's called the adrenal system. In high school, they used to call it fight or flight. Yeah, it's a system that protects you in a hostile environment, a stressful environment. I go, oh, well, how does it work? I say, if there's no stress, my biology is concerned with growth and maintenance of my body because I'm going to use the energy to take care of myself. But if I'm stressed, and we'll give the oldest example, I'm being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. The question is, well, how do you protect yourself? And the first thing is this. You're going to use your arms and legs. You're going to run, escape, or if someone's coming after you, you're going to fight or flight. And I say, so what system am I using in my body? I'm not using my gut. And I say, well, the gut functions maintenance and health of the body. I'm using my arms and legs. I say, well, I need energy in my arms and legs because if those are the structures, then I say, well, how do you get energy in the arms and legs? I say, well, blood carries energy. And I say, oh. So if I'm under stress, this is a sentence right out of the book. When stress hormones are released into the body, the blood is preferentially sent to the arms and legs. Preferentially, first question is, well then where's the blood preferentially if I'm not in stress? And the answer is viscera. I go, oh, that's growth and maintenance of the body. I go, exactly. I say, then when I'm under stress and stress hormones are released, then how does blood get to my arms and legs? And the answer is, stress hormones cause the blood vessels in the gut to constrict. And when the blood can't flow through the gut, the only other place to flow is through your arms and legs. So by squeezing the blood vessels in the gut, I'm pushing energy to the arms and legs to run. I go, yeah, but at what cost? I say, when you're in stress, by definition, maintenance, taking care of the body, repairing and fixing everything in the body, visceral functions are not working. Why? They're not getting blood. There's no energy.
Okay, Bruce, now take me from the saber-toothed tiger to the man in the office who's got 10 deadlines and a grumpy boss, and he's way behind, and he's about to get divorced from his wife, and he has a phone call saying, you will be fired if you don't finish this afternoon. Does that same constriction happen in his stomach?
Exactly the same. And you may have even feel it, because you can even feel the blood vessels when they close. It's called butterflies in the stomach. When as soon as you get scared, you can feel like something is weird. And what it is, it's blood vessels squeezing because the hormones of the stress system are causing them to shut down to get ready to run. Well, why is it relevant? If I'm in fear, by definition, I'm in protection, but I'm not in growth. Growth is this. If I'm not giving this energy, I'm not growing. So I'm in a state of protection. Growth is shut off. I go, well, since we lose hundreds of billions of cells every day, that's normal, just normal aging and dying. Hundreds of billions of cells die every day, so I don't care what age you are. You have to grow every day in order to replace hundreds of billions of cells. So I say, well, this stress sounds like a bad idea, because if I'm under stress, I'm not growing, and then my body could fall into disrepair. And I go, yeah, but think about it this way. When the system was designed, the only thing you had to be afraid of was a saber-toothed tiger. Because if you could outrun a saber-toothed tiger, no more stress. So you only used it for a short period of time, so it didn't have a negative impact on the body. It was only used for a short period of time. But now you bring up the office and the worker and all that, and I realize, guess what? It's not a few minutes. It's all day, every day, 365 days a year. You're under stress. Why? Get this finished. Why? You lose your job, lose your money, lose your life. I'm under stress. All of a sudden you realize it's not momentary anymore. It is now chronic. And that's where illness comes in, because when you shut down the growth mechanisms for a long period of time, you've incapacitated the system to take care of itself and to regenerate itself. And any system has to be regenerated every day because of losing hundreds of billions of cells. So chronic stress, the world that we live in today, is actually antagonistic to our vitality because stress shuts it down. Now,
and it's huge, and it's widespread. It is everywhere now.
It is everywhere. Every country, every person is under the awareness that if I don't keep up, I'm going to die. And that stress is incapacitating growth. And you have to grow, as I said, every day. So the moment you throw the monkey wrench of stress in there is the moment that you stop maintaining your body. And from there on, it's downhill, because illness will start to manifest from systems that are not regenerating and taking care of themselves.
With you, John, we've been talking a lot about adrenal health, and this ties in perfectly with that, doesn't it?
But also oxygen.
Worn-out adrenals.
Also oxygen, because every single reaction in the body requires oxygen.
Yes.
So that's why we do a lot of the ozone therapy, and then we deal with stress management techniques and the mind-body stuff.
Because we have to recognize, as John was talking about very simply to close this out, we have to recognize this, is that stress is a belief system first. I believe I'm going to lose my job. I believe I won't get the deadline. And I say, oh, so stress isn't physical, organic, it's a perception. And if you understand this, then there's an opportunity to change the perception.
Thank you, Bruce, because if we rewind, you did say that. You said we see the stresses coming from outside, but in fact, it isn't. In fact, the stress is the thought about the external action.
I appreciate that conclusion, because that's exactly what it's all about.
Wow.
Biology of Belief.
The Biology of Belief, a wonderful book. And also this one, which I'm pushing very hard, Spontaneous Evolution, both books by Dr. Bruce Lipton, who will be joining us again next week. Thank you, Bruce.
I look forward to that. Thank you.
So Bruce and Viv, we have Bruce in here today to follow up on the tests we've already done. We've done his cell well-being test, we've done a thyroid test, but what are we looking at today, Viv?
What we're looking at is a biofeedback machine from HeartMath. It's called M-Wave, which helps people manage their stress.
Manage their stress, so, and also looking at his heart health, because of course Bruce had the heart.
Absolutely. So what this little machine does is it helps people balance their autonomic nervous system. When people are under stress, they become sympathetic dominant, which creates adrenaline and cortisol, and they're not in their parasympathetic, which is their peacemaker reflector. So this balances those two arms of the autonomic nervous system up, and this particular breathing technique we use allows them to go into what is called heart coherence, which is when the head and the heart and the breath synchronise, and they move into a space that is, they're focused, but they're at peace.
That would be hugely important for you as an actor, wouldn't it, Bruce? What's the stress on your head and your heart when you're waiting for those calls as an actor?
Yeah, well, it depends on your personal situation, of course. I had 3 kids the whole time I was an actor, so had to have income. So, and yeah, I made a number of what I regard as silly decisions over the years because I wasn't engaging any form of intuition. I felt like I had no intuition, so I'd be desperate going, oh yeah, I'll take that job, and then suddenly something would come up and it would clash and be like, oh no, can I cancel, can I pull out? And so it gets pretty stressful. You have no security, essentially, financially.
And that's going to affect the heart coherence. Let's have a look further at the test and how we can help Bruce with those sorts of challenges.
Okay, so Bruce, this is a particular breathing pattern that we call balanced breathing, which we're breathing into the belly. When we breathe in, the belly goes out. When we breathe out, the belly comes in. And it's balanced breathing because it's 6 seconds in and it's 6 seconds out. And also we're feeling a positive emotion in the heart. So we're not focused on any anxiety or negativity. We're feeling something that we have some love or joy or appreciation for. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to clip you.
Yep.
So Viv, do you actually want to picture a place you love to go to,
or a person,
who you feel happy
a
with?
person that you feel really happy with or love? Now, the key with this...
It might be holding a dog, stroking
absolutely,
a pet.
yeah. So the key with this, that you're feeling it, you're not letting the head talk you through it. We're actually feeling a happy emotion. Yes.
Have you got that, Bruce? You've got a picture in
We'll
your
soon
head?
find out.
We'll soon find out. No, we're doing it today, aren't we, Bruce? All right, so I'm going to begin this. Now, what happens is the biofeedback machine begins to calibrate Bruce's heart rate variability. And when we begin, the coherence will be in the red, it's low coherence, and as Bruce begins his balanced breathing and holding that emotion in his heart, he's already gone into blue, which is medium coherence, and he's now gone into green, which is high coherence, which is brilliant. And this is what he's attempting to do, is to get into green and hold green. So just going back into that balanced breathing, just letting any thoughts, anything else go, and just really going into the heart and holding that feeling. Might be remembering your love for your grandchildren or your most favourite pet, or it might be one of those places when you're out swimming, some wonderful place that just allows you to feel gratitude and awe and appreciation. So just relaxing.
In a way that it's a meditation.
It is, and what's interesting with this is within a minute or two, that's all it takes. You can be in high heart coherence, which is that place where the mind's still and you're fully in the heart, you're fully present, and yet you're calm. This is the place to make really good decisions from.
Is it a place for heart healing?
Absolutely. This will give excellent heart health. This is where you can monitor your blood pressure. It gives you heart health. I've had a client who had a very stressful situation with staff, knew her blood pressure was through the roof, drove herself to the doctors, had to wait for the doctor. So I thought, oh, I'll do that breathing Viv told me about. And by the time she got into the doctor, her blood pressure was normal, and it was nowhere near normal when she started. This is good, Bruce. You've recovered and you're going back. You were back to medium, and you're getting a nice even sine wave. So just nice, deep, even breathing. Good. Go into high coherence again. Excellent. And we've done just over 2 minutes, so I'm going to stop that now. Good. And I just want you to scan. I know this is a difficult situation being filmed. Just scan inside and see what is different to when you started.
Not really. Like I actually became, because I was sort of trying to be quiet with it. After my operation, which took the aneurysm out of my aorta out, I feel my heart a lot more, and I've still got this irregular heartbeat. So I was finding myself a bit distracted by that, because I was trying to be aware of this, and I must admit it was a bit distracting, sort of feeling the irregularity of my heartbeat.
The interesting thing that we know now with this research that's been done with the heart and the gut brain is that they have neuroplasticity, and that means that they can heal and reprogram themselves. So this piece of equipment here and this breathing pattern and holding a positive emotion will allow you to regulate and re-heal and create new neurons that will give you heart health and allow you to have much more regularity in it.
Which in a way, thank you, Viv and Bruce, very much for coming in. It's unusual to do it and be filmed, and you handled that wonderfully. But in a way, that is a wonderful focus, isn't it, for Bruce and himself? I am healing as he's doing it.
Absolutely, because he's creating new neurons, new pathways.
Beautiful. Thank you both very much. From Bruce Hopkins creating new heart neurons to food that supports heart and full body well-being with Shon Bennett. Wonderful to have you here. This book, My 20 Golden Rules, covers for me everything I need to know about food. Is there anything you've left out?
No, it's pretty much got it all in there. It really is a holistic view on what are those key things you need to do if you want to get well and stay well.
Tell me, Jason, how you came to write such a comprehensive book about good food, about health.
Well, it started a long time ago. My mum was very sick when I was in the womb. She had toxemia. So I came out 7 months gestation, very, very sick little bubba. Ended up in hospital for quite a while, tubes, and ended up then, by the time I was 5, I was a chronic asthmatic with hay fever, with allergies, right through my teens and my childhood. I was sick all the time. I was on 16 to 20 shots of Ventolin every day. I couldn't go to bed without drugs, couldn't wake up without drugs. I ended up steroid injections, intel prevention, in and out of hospital on breathing apparatus. So I was literally one of those sick kids. You know, there was always one in every class, and I was the sick kid.
Were there dietary factors involved? Poor food?
I didn't realise that until afterwards. Yes. But I had an epiphany when I was 20, and I'd been told that it was genetic, and of course it wasn't. I was told that there was nothing could be done, just take the medications. So I continued to take the medications, thinking that was going to solve the problem. And then when I got to 20, I had this epiphany about that I wasn't going to be an effective father, because I became a father at 20, 21. And I wanted to change my life, and I wanted to be a good father and a good grandfather, and I've just become a grandfather and father of 4. Yeah, it's very exciting.
You do not look old enough to be a grandfather. You look very young.
Well, I started young, but it's wonderful being a granddad. I'm trying to tell you all about that as well. But I got to age 20, 21, and it really was a case of I started learning about diet, lifestyle and environment and genetics being the 4 kind of key causes of disease. So in diet, you've got what you eat every day and how much you eat and where it's grown, the quality of the food. Lifestyle, you've got things like stress, and you've got do you drink and do you smoke, things like that. What time do you go to bed? Environment, where you live, is it toxic, and the soil and the atmosphere. And then genetics, which seems to be a very, very small part of it. And we can control our genetic expression through what we do in these other areas. So I started experimenting on myself literally at age 21. I started fasting, and I started reading about the world's longest lived cultures, the centenarians, and I started learning about vegetarianism and eating more plants and fibre. And I had this, wonderful 104-year-old step-grandmother who taught me a lot about ageing as well. She was a wonderful mentor.
And what happened to your health in these times? Yes.
Yeah, after about 5 years of trying all these different things, just literally changing my diet, my lifestyle and my environment to influence my genetics to give me better genetic expression. After 5 years of that, I've cured everything. And so I'm about to turn 50, and I have been in better shape in my 40s and 30s than I was in my 20s. And the interesting thing is I'm the same genes, I'm the same 23,688 genes I was when I was born almost 50 years ago, but they're expressing differently. And what I learned along the way, that it's all about, like these centenarian cultures have, it's all about what you do every day, the little things you do every day.
John, you would absolutely endorse that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course. And we've obviously heard from Bruce Lipton, who did the research. He isolated the cell and put them in culture, and cells grow toward a healthy environment and away from an unhealthy environment. So it's irrefutable what Jason's saying.
So what would be your daily food intake now? What would be a typical day?
On a day that I'm eating, you mean?
On a day well, let's talk about that. How often do you fast?
I fast generally 1 day a week, and then occasionally I'll do a longer fast if I feel the need.
The longest fast you've ever done? How long? Is it?
50 days. Yeah,
Pretty
and
impressive.
I've done a few 2 weeks and a few 30 days and 31 days, things like that. But I just generally tend to now, you get a bit of an instinct with it over time. You know, you start off initially, it can be quite daunting. And we can have a whole conversation about fasting if you like, you know, but it starts off a little bit daunting, but it generally gets easy to do over time. And fasting is all about the top 2 inches. It's all up here. It's not the body loves it when you go without food.
Why is that, do you think, Jason?
Well, the body gets a chance to fix itself and heal itself. And we know, what's the first sign you have with children when they're unwell? That's the very first sign
They
you
go
get.
off their food.
Yeah, and with your animals. It's exactly the same thing. The most biological organisms on the planet, the first thing they'll do when they get unwell is stop eating. Just literally because then the body can turn its own healing mechanisms inward and start to fix what's wrong, as opposed to constantly bombarding it with food.
I did hear that the body uses an enormous amount of energy every day just to digest the food.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
without digesting, a lot of that energy is left.
Up to 60% or so at any one time, yeah. And depending on when you're overeating, and of course we're living in this current modern society where we've got a highly processed, low fibre, high meat, high sugar type diet, which for a lot of people just doesn't work, doesn't tend to work for human beings. And we look at those longevity cultures and they're eating quite a different mixture and living quite a different way and quite a different lifestyle. But they're all things that they do, and you know, the 20 golden rules, they're all little things that they do every day that add up to miraculous results. Those little tiny things all add up.
There is an awakening. There are a lot of people talking about, for example, sugar, that sugar film, and
Yes.
a lot of things on the internet. But tell me about your day. What would you have on a day you're eating?
On a daily, yeah, well, I generally tend to soak overnight. I tend to soak my muesli if I'm getting up and exercising. If I get up and I haven't exercised, I generally don't tend to have much of an appetite. But if I'm exercising, like I generally do, which is a long walk for me, I'm a huge fan of, again, the longevity cultures. And what do they do every day is they just tend to move most of the time. And they tend to be on their feet most of the time. And they tend to look at sitting down as a reward, you know, as opposed to we sit and then we walk to the fridge.
Yes, we sit as the default.
Yeah, but what they do is they move and they walk, and then as a reward they get to sit occasionally. And when you sit after moving or walking, it's a different experience. Sitting is wonderful once you've exercised.
So what, you might walk rather than take the car if you can?
Yes,
if you've
yeah,
got the time.
yeah. And I get up in the morning. I love to walk. It's kind of a time out for me. I go for a nice long walk. We live in Ellerslie, so I walk up to Cornwall Park, up to the top, and I strap on weights on. I carry 10 to 14 kilos of weights, and I go up the side of the mountain, and just simply because it makes it harder work and more enjoyable.
And you come back and have your soaked
I come back, I
muesli.
get my soaked muesli. Yeah, I got this wonderful soaked muesli which gives you all your essential fatty acids, and it starts the day off with some really good oats and high fibre. It's wonderful. Maybe a little bit of soy yogurt, something on that as well, something fermented. And then I'll take a break, brush my teeth, and maybe have some green tea in the morning. Green tea is one of those superb foods. You look at the longevity cultures, and green tea features so enormously. And there's so much research, we've seen that's been done on green tea.
It's very high antioxidant.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful for stimulating the human body. It's great for the liver, great for everything. So I have my green tea in the morning or some water. And then for lunch, I'll have some kind of salad, generally with either some seeds or legumes or beans or hummus on top. And then a soup of some sort for dinner, And one of the key things you can really learn from the centenarian cultures is they look at legumes the way we look at meat. So they look at legumes every day as needing legumes every day. We need our beans or our lentils or our dal or our chickpeas, whereas we have that relationship with meat. And of course, they have very different health statistics than we do.
Very different cancer. Wonderful book, and wonderful to talk to you, Jason.
Thank
I
you.
would like to talk to you again about fasting, so we'll do that another day. But
Sure.
Jason, Shon Bennett, and my 20 golden rules, I highly recommend it. You certainly are a recommendation for what you do. You look extremely healthy and high energy. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Along with all that nutritious, delicious food advice from Jason, we also need to find support and inspiration for incorporating healthy, life-giving changes into our lives. So here's a story of a busy family who found ways to eat healthy food within a time and money budget.
I think that there's definitely time to eat well and healthy. It's just a question of being prepared, and maybe having some of the right equipment helps to have a really good blender. Nothing that I make takes a long time. I'm quite an impatient person by nature. I'm really busy, I've got loads going on. But yes, it can take, less than 10 minutes to make some hummus. Nice generous spoonful of tahini. Good glug of that, and we'll put a bit more in a minute. So this Bamex, this is quite a good brown. It's the first blitz, just to get the garlic going. Now I'm going to add the chickpeas. Put a bit more lemon. Brilliant.
eat with it?
Carrots, cucumbers, I know peppers, apple.
Crisps if you're lucky. You can make a really healthy smoothie in kind of 3 minutes.
I'm making a banana smoothie with goji berries, raisins, cocoa nibs. What else is in there?
Cardamom. That's
Cardamom.
Cardamom works really well with the banana. In Ayurveda, I think it takes the kind of mucus forming quality out of the banana if you put cardamom in. You know, the same like I think avocado can be kind of encourage that mucus forming in the body, but if you add a bit of salt and lemon and pepper, I think that changes it as well. So
It's great energy food, it just sets you up.
that's lovely, thank you. You can make dips, avocado, guacamole dips in, you know, it can all take minutes really. Soups, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
How about mint?
Yeah, you can eat mint.
Where is it?
There. There's a mint. Is that green?
Oh, yeah.
And this is thyme. That's thyme. You can eat thyme and mint.
I mean, children like sweetness, especially if they're used to it. So it's finding things, sweet things that can replace those unhealthy, sugar-filled options. So all the mints being mixed up with a watermelon. Oh, wow. No, so I bake at least 1 banana bread a week. That's lovely. The children love it. It goes really quickly. You can toast it. You can put seeds in it, nuts in it, or just have it as it is. Fruits. Quite often we do chocolate-covered fruit, you know, as a treat. So, and Lally loves to do it. You know, she's 4. She loves to cover the strawberries and the banana. So it's having treats but eating well and eating mindfully. It doesn't need. I mean, it takes again 15 minutes to even less maybe to do the mix of the banana bread, and then in the oven for kind of an hour. So nothing I make takes a long time. Well, I noticed that a lot of the time, Lally, my 4-year-old, for example, and actually Iona's was the same, my 14-year-old. You know, if she goes to a party and there's these cakes with these kind of thick icing and these like awful colours, you know, she loves the look of it with her Disney character or whatever, but actually she won't eat it. Once she tries it, the taste is so kind of, you know, but of course she loves ice cream, but as much as she loves ice cream, she'll love the lollies that we've made together.
What's that?
A cake.
You made it? Really? So quickly?
Yeah.
Is it healthy?
Yeah.
And yummy?
Yeah.
Yum. Let's have a bite. Nom, 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 nom. Thank you.
Each week at the end of the show, I recap my highlights. Today, I was fascinated to hear from Dr. Bruce Lipton that hundreds of billions of cells die off every day in our bodies. And that, of course, means that each of our bodies need daily support to regenerate. Food and controlling stressful thoughts are essential for this. And we saw in the heart coherence test that Bruce Hopkins did that he could have a huge impact on his heart rate by calming his thoughts. We saw that very quickly play out on the computer screen. The high-energy, healthy Shon Bennett is the best testament himself for eating spray-free, nutritious food. Hard to believe he's in his 50s, but that's the gift of health. Next week, we delve further into the links of stress and immunity with Dr. Bruce Lipton. And we investigate geopathic stress lines in the earth. There may be some affecting the efficient functioning of your home. Nikki Crocker will explain all, and this is not to be missed. Also, Liz Hart has useful self-help methods for reducing stress in the body. All I can add is have a stress-free week.